The City of Oldsmar City Council meeting of Tuesday, September 4th, 2018 to order. If you'll please rise for our invocation and our pledge, led by our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Our Heavenly Father, as citizens of the City of Oldsmar meet together to address our local concerns and opportunities, we give thanks to you for the bounty that we enjoy in all aspects of our community life. We ask for your inspiration to strive for excellence in our endeavors to serve the public. Grant us peace in our world and harmony between all people to your greater glory. This we pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Where has the year gone? Welcome again. Our first item tonight is our Citizens Open Forum. We only have a couple of rules that you state your name and address clearly for the record. You keep it to no more than 5 minutes. You can address anything that's on the agenda. However, if you're addressing items 5, 6, 8, or 9, those are public hearings and we're asked for your comment at such time. Having said that, we'll start on this side of the room. Anybody like to address the council? Yep. I was hoping something was coming over here.
Don't worry. Don't
You all
worry.
weren't here just to see us.
No. Thank you. My name is Warren Stovall. I am a resident of Safety Harbor, just across the bridge. And I want to thank you for the opportunity, Honorable Mayor, Councilwoman, and council members. My name is Warren Stovall. I'm here on behalf of the Suncoast Sierra Club. The Sierra Club is the oldest grassroots environmental organization in the United States with the stated mission to explore, enjoy, and protect the wild places of the earth, to practice and promote the responsible use of the Earth's ecosystems and resources, to educate and enlist humanity to protect and restore the quality of the natural and human environment. I'll be speaking to you in the future about Sierra Club's Ready for 100 campaign. The Sierra Club Ready for 100 campaign is a national movement working to inspire leaders to embrace a vision of healthier communities powered with 100% clean, renewable energy. I'll be asking for your attention to this campaign in the coming months. Tonight, I want to ask you for 2 things. 1, we ask that you support, endorse the Tampa Bay Regional Resiliency Coalition. This effort is a first step towards Oldsmar preparedness for ocean surge and sea level rise. Research indicates Oldsmar is vulnerable as a coastal community. Your leadership is needed to protect Oldsmar from the impacts of projected future sea level rise. 2, Suncoast Sierra is proposing that Oldsmar form an environmental impact committee to be comprised of community businesses, organizations, residents, and/or local leaders. Several of your sister cities in the Tampa Bay area have taken a similar approach in planning for a safe future for their residents. There's a great expertise willing to help you in this very important and necessary endeavor in Oldsmar. We need your leadership to have a city environment that is safe and habitable. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see your leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have item 10, adopt a resolution, so we'll be addressing that a little bit later on this evening. So, thank you. Anybody else on this side of the room? They all came for you? All right, nice. Anybody else on this side of the room? Nope. Anybody on this side of the room like to address the council? Yep.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You have a taller mic. My name is Jared Buckman, 310 Washington Avenue, Oldsmar. Moved here about 4 years ago. I was living on Park Avenue in a rental. 2016, we bought 310 Washington Avenue and moved in. Over the course of that weekend, the observance of speed on Washington Avenue between State Street and St. Petersburg Drive was just atrocious. Watching Jimmy John's and all the speeders down the road. Took some action, contacted the city. The city sent a police officer out there, did some observance. Didn't really get that many people speeding, but did notice that there was a problem. Had a chance to speak to Councilman Beaverland last week, or last meeting, in regards to a petition There are currently 25 homes between State Street and St. Pete Drive on Washington Avenue. 2 are vacant, gives me 23 total homes. There are 19 petition signatures here asking for some sort of traffic calming device. I understand that street is a emergency access way. I know speed bumps are probably not the way to go, but if we get a stop sign either at State Street in Dartmouth or State Street in Buckingham, even though State Street in Buckingham or Washington and Buckingham would give me extra edging duties on the weekend, that's my property. I'm okay with that. We're just looking for some sort of solution. So I wanted to hand this to the council tonight and
Yep.
see if we can
Give
get
it
this
to our
moving
clerk.
forward.
Clerk, she'll
Yeah.
take that, and then,
I suggest after that, when we discuss it later on, whenever it is, that we put it on the agenda so we can vote on it.
Yeah,
PRC first.
I agree with him. I drive down Washington often, and there's a house with a gentleman with a young son that's always playing in the driveway and pretty close to the road, and that always makes me really nervous, because I do think that people tend to drive a little faster on that street.
Not one
so.
person pushed back at all on this. It was pretty easy to get through and get it done. There's a black Audi, I think, that goes down pretty fast.
Okay.
Don't you drive a black Audi?
mine's like dark gray.
Dark, that's the one that's, thank you.
Well, look at it, it goes to the TRC first before it would come before us, so, yeah, obviously, safety is always a concern on some of those streets, so, thank you. Anybody else in the room like to address the council? Seeing no one, will close the citizens' open forum and give you a couple things on the mayor's minute, a couple of recaps. The Chamber 19th hole mixer, City and Empower Adventures, Tampa Bay partnered for a hole at Jack Willie's for this event, and to everybody's efforts, we won the most difficult hole. I played it, my ball was all over the restaurant, so I don't think that was the idea. We Mean Business, our monthly visits by the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, the city manager and myself. In August, we visited Dimmitt Automotive, which is a very interesting facility, Bellick LLC, as well as Sunbelt Staffing and Rumba Bar and Grill. Always interesting to see the different types of businesses that we have in the city of Oldsmar. We continue to kind of walk away when we do those and go, wow, that's all that is right here in the city of Oldsmar. So T-Barta workshop, it was interesting. I think, although people say transportation is terrible, I think this is probably the closest that the partners, there's a lot of them, you know, PSTA, the MPOs, HART, and all the different transportation entities. It's probably the closest we've been to ever moving the ball forward instead of rowing in completely different directions. Actually, sometimes we're not even in the same boat, so.
Are we all in the same boat this time?
We are at least at the same marina, I think, so, so we'll see. The Sheriff's Office enjoyed meeting with Captain Peterson of Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. One of the things we talked about, and Gabby and I have talked about this, is just the notification process that sometimes happens. And unfortunately, social media is so far ahead of us, but you know, these news outlets and TV outlets have people just sitting doing nothing but monitoring, you know, scanners and all that, and we find out after the fact. Although in a lot of cases, and I think Al and I have talked about this a little bit, although we may see it on social media, we were already notified through our emails, but we don't see it in our emails until we obviously go to our emails. I think that was a recent case that happened. So Celebrate Oldsmar, a great event this past weekend, carnival, beer garden, food and fireworks. Thanks to the Friday's group Stormbringers, who was very patient throughout the weather. Saturday night, the Soul Circus Cowboys, and special thanks to our event partner, the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, for their assistance with the barbecue wing cook-off and the Volkswagen Bugs on the Bay Car Show. I think it was a great community event, and people really look forward to coming out. I think the fireworks were about 20 minutes long. Of course, you always have somebody.
But they were backwards. They were backwards.
We've heard that. We haven't confirmed that, but.
No, they intended to say ASU.
Yeah, Arizona State University instead
Yeah,
of
that's
USA.
exactly what,
Yeah.
not USA.
Yeah. It was interesting. So we're actually looking into that because the middle was very good, because whether it's forwards or backwards, the middle is always good. So,
It was great.
yeah. Upcoming events, Crafty Saturday, September 8th, 11 to 3 at the Oldsmar Public Library, free drop-in craft program for all ages, adult and youth, craft supplies provided. Amendment 1, public workshop Thursday, September 13th, 6 to 7:30 at the council chambers, free public workshop with Pinellas County property appraiser Mike Twitty, presentation on Q&A. Coincidentally, he is our guest speaker at tomorrow's Mayor's Council lunch, so it'll be kind of interesting to see where we stand on that. Cutting the Cord, Tuesday, September 8th, or September 18th, 2 to 3 at the Oldsmar Public Library. A beginner's guide to getting rid of cable TV, free to attend, no registrations are required. How many people up here have cut the cable? No?
I hardly use it though.
Yeah, I mean, I have my internet, but I don't have the cable, so I don't miss it at all. And that wraps it up. We'll get into the agenda. Awards and recognitions, presentation of the Business of the Quarter Award for the third quarter of 2018. Councilmember McGee is our recipient here, do we know?
I don't see Ken, but is anyone here from Business Records Management this evening to receive it?
No? Okay, well, can we reschedule that then?
Sure.
Okay. Nothing in the CRA. Consent docket, approve the tentative agenda for September 18th, 2018. That's the only item on there. If nobody wishes to pull it, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. City of Oldsmar, I don't know about this one. Appoint Andrew Knapp as an alternate board member of the Code Enforcement Board. Is Andrew here? I don't see him. No. Andrew, come on up.
Howdy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Andrew Knapp, 314 Vista Cruiser Lane.
What in the world possessed you to want to be an alternate to the Code Enforcement Board?
Because of the lovely issues that are surrounding our neighborhood.
That's usually how we get people on the board.
Yeah, it is, so.
Being a board member through the HOA at Hayes Park, we I hear it from my neighbors about things that are close to us right there.
And we've talked about it and.
Sure. So being able to try to help on a broader scale is what interests me.
And I think what you'll find sometimes is that it winds up, I don't mean this just negatively, but educating and then you can take it back and educate people about the process and, it's not as easy as sometimes people think.
That's what I've had to do with the issues that are, close to us in that neighborhood there.
Yeah,
You kind of have to say it's an ongoing process and it doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah, exactly. So we really appreciate you wanting to be a part of that. It is one of the tougher, Board of Adjustments is probably a tough one, and this one are probably.
Code enforcement.
Yeah.
That's why we have some tough people on that board, though.
Yeah, there's one. What's her name? I didn't want to say it. Is it Sandy Grimes?
Is that Grimes woman? Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I'm just kidding. No, it's a good board, and they take it very seriously, and it's a big part of the city is to be able to enforce the codes. Tom can attest to that, I'm sure. So they do a great job. So we appreciate it. If nobody has any questions, anytime you're ready to break out in song, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, which song are you gonna do tonight?
Jansen said.
He did come with a dance.
He did.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, so we don't have to see it. Do we have a second?
Dan
Oh,
second.
second. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you,
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Next is the presentation of the innovation team. Who is leading this? Our IC, interim chief.
Yes. Thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. We would like to thank the city manager for giving us the opportunity to present to you tonight. With me is Brent Frazier from Leisure Services, and I'm Tom Brennan, your interim fire chief. There are other members of the team with us. Can you please stand and recognize Deb back over there? 3 ladies right here. Mandy, Katie, and Patricia. So last December, the city manager asked for volunteers to join this innovation team. The initial meeting was in January, and at the meeting, we learned a process called value stream mapping. Using this process, as you all know, our first project was Operation Sandbag, which we thought was a success. So today we have 2,400 sandbags that are pre-filled and ready for use at a moment's notice. So after the sandbag process, we have 2 more projects we took on. One was the Pinellas County water line, the other one being work orders for utility billing. The Pinellas County water line, which we pay for, is the city's emergency backup line. This is a domestic water supply for us. It runs from the preserve along Pine Avenue through Oldsmar. As part of the Pinellas County agreement with Oldsmar, we were required to flush or flow water to maintain the pipes that are there and to maintain adequate chemical levels within those pipes.
And if I could add that, and the reason that is because the city of Oldsmar produces, for those that don't know, we produce our own water, so
Right.
that is the
Pinellas
backup.
County is our backup, yes,
Right.
sir. So approximately 50,000 gallons of water per week are purged from this line. So our task was to determine a process to use this water. So what we found out was that the Pinellas County water line runs right in front of the RO plant. So what we did was we met and we talked about tapping into that water line, which we did, and we run that water line to the rear of the plant where the reverse osmosis scrubber is located. The previous practice was to we ran reclaimed water into the scrubber. As you know, reclaimed water has a higher level of mineral content. So with Pinellas County being a softer water, we were using that water to use for the scrubber. In that process, we have 22 cartridges in there and some scrubbing balls that are in there. So now that we're using a cleaner water source, it now stretches the life of those cartridges and those balls, so which is a cost savings. And so we have a cost savings there, and the biggest thing is now we're not just flushing and wasting 500 or 50 gallons of water per week. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Bryn.
Thanks, Tom. Our next project that we took a look at was the work order system. We examined work order processes throughout the city and discovered inconsistencies in how a lot of them looked and functioned. We chose to do a deep dive into one small piece of the larger puzzle and value stream mapped the utility billing process. We thought this would help us understand the work order flow. This process was already being managed through ADG, our work order system, so we also wanted to assess the system's capabilities at the same time. What we found was the current process that the utility billing system was using was already quite efficient. Many of us also learned quite a great deal about ADG in the process. We wanted to bring the project back to the bigger picture, so we recommended to utilize ADG's global work order module citywide. That's how we're moving forward as an innovation team. We've come back together and we're looking at implementing the global work order module as a whole. We've had a chance to see a thorough webinar on how the global work order system works, and we think it has some great applications for both internal and external customers. It's the best way to centralize and track our work orders throughout the city. This is going to be a complicated project. It's going to be very labor intensive and requires a lot of data that we currently don't have. We estimate it's possible that it's going to take us about a year to complete this project. At this time, I'd like to invite Katie and Tricia to join us to answer any of your questions.
Any questions? I have one. How many, and I might be wrong on this, but so kind of different cost centers work with their work orders differently and they function differently currently? Is that correct? I'll ask that of you guys.
The different departments all kind of use, it started with diving into forms. We started to pull together all the forms that the city uses among all the departments. What'd the list get to, about 200? And then when they dug into the utility billing work order process through ADG and ultimately determined that it was relatively efficient, we started thinking about how we could apply that towards these forms used in all the different departments. So they don't necessarily go to cost center, but more by task throughout the various departments.
And I guess this came about because obviously a problem was identified and that we're kind of.
Feel that, well, it wasn't necessarily a problem. It was almost that we saw there was a lack of a problem, largely due to the use of the work order process through ADG. Okay. They have an expansion pack, if you will, this module that generalizes these work orders and then it can integrate into the other modules that we're currently using, like IT, inventory control, fleet management. We're using them obviously for our building permit. So, and on an external level, we have our website where how do I, and you can report a pothole, things like that. Eventually this will be able to integrate and replace that on our website. So in the long term, residents will be able to fill that out and it will automatically generate a work order going to the correct department to handle that.
You have found all this up because of a lack of a problem has caused a problem.
I think the problem might have already been there. This is just a good solution.
And does everybody use ADG citywide?
Not necessarily every employee, but I would say every department. It houses all of our accounting, utility billing, the business permits, some purchasing functions.
web-based?
Yes.
So are some of the forms that we currently use, the 200, are a good amount of them manual forms, and then this will automate all of them essentially, or? they'll
Maybe
be
not
online?
all, because some might not be relevant to the process, but, and that's where we're starting, is each representative from the departments are kind of gathering what they would consider work orders. But correct, most of them, the forms are manual or fillable PDFs that then require sending and emailing.
This is going to Al, and Al is going to investigate it.
Well, he already
And
approved
then
it.
what are you going to do?
Implement it,
Then you're going to implement it.
and they're going to do the implementation. A lot of moving parts to it. I would draw your attention to something that Mr. Hurley and Ms. Clark over there had boatloads to do with, and that was the permitting process, creating the online access points to it. A lot of moving parts, tremendous amount of work. What they've identified was something that we knew existed, but we need a centralized point, and I presented it originally as a mechanism by which we could address connected city in a sense, by instead of everybody doing their own thing, we have website access for taking complaints, we have utility billing. They focused on utility billing to learn how the system works. ADG has had it for years. We haven't used it in all of its component parts. So because it is so large, they were correct in saying it'll probably take a year to implement. It'll require a team, my innovation team, to sit with the departments, get the data squared away, make the connections. There's a lot going to it. And I learned a lot from Mike and Mandy about the online permitting process, with having to make sure the website works, have to make sure the data's good, have to make sure the app works, have to make sure it all comes together. It'll function a lot like that, but it'll allow us to have a centralized point where everybody will see any work order that's been initiated. If somebody amends it, addresses it, closes it, it'll go to the same spot, kind of like cloud computing would.
Give you the ability to get reports, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yep.
At that point, you'll know, okay, it's taken us on average 3.4 days to turn around a work order request.
It has a lot of neat features. Deployment wise, you can assign it to different people. The reporting function is definitely really big, as well as its tie-in to our other ancillary systems within ADG.
What's the timeline on this?
It'll take a year.
I think they said about a
It'll take
year.
at least a year
Now,
to implement it.
you're going to have to take them away from their regular jobs to do this.
That's correct. And in fact, it's one of the things that I love so much about the team, because they've made some great suggestions on things that we have implemented. But now I actually have a bunch of brains that can help us get those things done. The real reason we've never done this before is we didn't have enough people who could commit the time to make sure it happened. And now we do. And they've been great to work with, but this is maybe even taking them a step further than just sitting around hoping they come up with the ideas. I'm asking them to make sure that this one happens and gets implemented. It's very easy to be decentralized in these things, and that has been kind of the problem. We had different ways for the public to get to us, but we didn't have one coordinated source of where anything that came in would now be sitting in the same place. And ADG has had it for years. The reason they focused on utility billing was because utility billing was the only place where we used it. And it functions fine, but we have to expand it to everybody in order to get the benefits of what it should do for us. And thanks to these guys, I think we're going to get there.
Quick question. I love the idea. Question around costs. So since we already have ADG, is this like additional licenses we purchase or additional feature sets that we purchase, or?
Correct. I believe.
It's a model that's in the budget.
Yeah.
And I think it's
just,
$15,000 for the
an
model.
additional module.
Okay, thank you.
And I think the nice part in talking to Al is that ADG is very willing to work with us and somewhat customize it for our particular needs. And if I understood you correctly, initially it's going to be used internally, but hopefully it will ultimately be external. And I think this goes towards our comment about the building department permitting process. and accountability and timeline construction and things like that. So if they're all kind of housed in the same bucket, it's should be fairly easy to follow it, so, or see where it broke down or whatever the case might be.
And they're great to work with. I mean, when you call their help desk, the owner answers the phone and you say, Mark, I want it to do this. He'll ask you why, and then he does it.
I have one question. You mentioned data entry. It's going to be time consuming. Are you going to have like one person from each department? What's your plan there?
Right now, and that's what we'll discuss Thursday, there happens to be a nice representation throughout the team of people from every department. So we've each been tasked with kind of collecting the genuine work orders, as well as some background data to that, who would be responsible for fulfilling that order, what kind of ladder or approval chains would need to be set up, what kind of data or information do we need to capture when they're filling out the work order, things of that nature, and then find the commonalities to be able to help ADG build it in a general enough way that it would work across all the departments.
From past experience, that's the key to your success, is that data entry. Once that's done, you're going to be golden.
Yes, that's what IT tells us too, so.
Will you be coming back to the council to ask, because they're going to be able to do this on their own. Do you have another plan in place to ask the council for some kind of help on this?
No?
You
We'll
think
do
that?
it. We'll get it done.
I mean, I assume that ADG works with
They're the
other
ones that are doing it.
municipalities and other companies and that.
They're
they
our
know how to
enterprise
guide.
resource system for people that don't, ADG is a brand name.
Yeah.
Stands for American Data Group. They're out of Colorado. We've had them for 20 years. We use almost all of the modules that they provide for municipal operations. This is just the expansion of a module that we already have, example being the utility billing. And the team will help us implement, making sure and train people in each of those divisions to be able to use it. It'll involve setting up the data. It'll involve how to decide the path of what a work order, an inquiry comes into the system, where it goes, who sees it, that kind of thing. But I'm very confident in the team, and I think inside of a year, tops 18 months, everything will be smoothly run in work orders through one system.
I look forward to that. On the first request, you know that we have 2 water lines going through the city. We have St. Petersburg,
Yes,
and then we have Pinellas.
we have a contract with Pinellas County as a backup.
Right, the pipes are there. I believe.
Al,
Who knows how many
Sir?
pipes are there?
how can that work?
How does what work?
Using county water or St. Pete water?
Well, we don't use St. Pete water anymore.
I know we don't, but we did for about 40 years.
We did for a long time, that's correct.
That's feasible now?
I'm sorry?
Is that feasible now?
St. Pete?
No, Pinellas County.
Yeah, we use it for an emergency
Yeah, I
tap
know
if we
we
need it.
Okay.
Yeah, they were saying that we already have to use it anyways just to maintain the pipes, but now we will reuse that water we were just gonna get rid of to maintain the
Yeah,
pipes.
because it's not consumable.
Yeah, it's a great
It
idea.
is, and that's what it would be for, if something happened to the RO plant,
But not
right?
at the flush water.
And that's why they flush or were purging, was to make sure that it's always at a drinkable, consumable level and help maintain just the structure of the pipes and the quality of them, and I haven't fully read the entire agreement, but as I understand, we're kind of responsible to make sure the pipes stay operational during that time. There's a meter at the beginning of the line, and there's a minimum number of gallons that have to pass through that meter. Since we weren't using the water, we just had to get that water past the meter and keep the levels. With the RO plant and it going through the scrubber now, we're using less water, which is good. He's running about 5,000 gallons a day through the scrubber, which is meeting the metered minimum. But because the water is constantly moving through the pipe too, it's helping it stay fresh throughout that duration instead of it sitting for some days needing to be purged, sitting, purge. With the constant flow, it's reducing how much we're actually using. So we eliminated the reclaim bill, we lowered our Pinellas County bill, and we're not wasting, which is great.
It's great.
If I understand the process, so once a week we used to flush 50,000 gallons and now we just use it as you need it to scrub, whether it's 5,000 at a time or, okay.
The BioRem pulls
That's
about,
probably a better process because you are actively keeping it running.
And then it does go back into our reclaim system.
Right.
For processing.
Yeah.
So
Great.
Great.
really good.
Any other?
Thank you all for what you're doing.
Good work.
Good job.
It's better than playing hockey, isn't it? She got hit by a hockey puck. You may have to help her walk outside.
You done? Mr. Clicker down there? Click, 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 click.
Hey.
Hey, didn't you say no more clickable
I'm
pens?
waiting for you, Fran.
That's it.
I know, I took all your clickable pens away, I thought.
Hey, Jerry,
City Attorney.
if he takes your pens, I've got one.
Okay, item number 5, second final reading of public hearing of ordinance 2018-07. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2018-07, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending certain sections of both the Land Development Code and the Town Center Development Code, amending the definition of building height, adding the definition of design flood elevation, amending access design considerations, amending design specifications for access, adding driveway lengths for single-family and townhome and garden-style residential, and providing an effective date. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2018-07 by title only, and it does require a public hearing.
This is a public hearing. Does the vast many of you on this side of the room like to address the council? No? Anybody on this side like to address the council on this item? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing for purpose of discussion. A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on this item? No? Great. Call the roll.
Vice Mayor Seidel,
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki,
Yes.
Councilmember McGee,
Yes.
Councilmember Beverland,
Yes.
Mayor Beavis.
Aye.
Second and final reading of ordinance 2018-07, amending certain sections of both the Land Development Code and Town Center Development Code is passed and adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 6, the first reading of public hearing of ordinance 2018-09, annexing property located at 3176 Duane Avenue. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2018-09, an ordinance declaring the intention of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, to annex certain real property located in Section 22, Township 28 South, Range 16 East, further described as Lot 15, Block 18, Map Section Number 1, West Oldsmar, parcel number 22 28 16 96660-018-0150, into the corporate limits of the City of Oldsmar and providing for the effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2018-09 by title only, and it requires a public hearing.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to address this item? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing for discussion. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
One at a time.
There we go. Thank you. Anything else? I love that. No, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Seidel,
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki,
Yes.
Councilmember McGee,
Yes.
Councilmember Beverland,
Yes.
Mayor Beavis.
Aye.
First reading of ordinance 2018-09, annexing 3176 Duane Avenue into the corporate limits of the City of Oldsmar passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 7 is approved contract with Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services in fiscal year 2018-19. We're requesting council approval for the annual law enforcement services contract with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for the total cost of $1,720,596 for fiscal year starting October 1st, 2018. The PCSO provides police protection, community policing services, traffic enforcement, and school crossing guards. There is no anticipated change in coverages or in level of service for the upcoming year. The contract cost has increased by 3.48% over the prior year. The detailed breakdown of cost is provided in your packet on page 32. Funds are available in the fiscal year 2018-19 proposed budget, GL account number 001-131-521-30-3410. Staff enthusiastically recommends approval.
Wow. Enthusiastic.
Enthusiastically.
Nice. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second
Second.
for discussion. Just a quick question. I don't know that you know the answer to this, and I'll dig on my end. Part of it, when you say the crossing guards, I remember back, gosh,
It was a long time ago.
5, 6, 7 years ago, before I became mayor, I think. This all came about because the school board kind of revisited the distance from what is it, the distance from the school that the person lives.
Right.
Has there ever been any more?
2 miles.
Huh?
2 miles.
Yeah, but has there ever been, and what, the crazy part is, you could be 1.99 miles and not get picked up, and I could be your neighbor and get picked up. It just,
Well, that's what happened with Jim Runiker.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
He had to run his kids up here and 2 houses down.
yeah, yeah. So I'm
They
just
had a
curious
bus.
if anybody knows, I don't know if there's ever been any more dialogue on that, or.
I don't know, they've probably changed the rules multiple times since then,
Well, you know the reason why we did that?
because it was cheaper.
See, we paid for the school bus.
Right.
Well, and then that same change, they also recalculated the way they
Came back and said
charged
they
us.
made a mistake.
Yeah, yeah, we forgot to carry the one, yeah, or whatever.
Because we were gonna be paying for the crossing guards, and it was cheaper to pay for the school bus and not need the crossing guards.
Right.
And so, or at least not need as many, I should say. Until they figured out their math was wrong.
Yeah, the way they were always calculating it. And I don't think it was just us, I think it was a lot of municipalities that fell into that, so I'll try and see too. I'm just curious if there ever been any more dialogue about it.
No.
I do remember the conversation. I don't remember if there's been any movement on it. I can find out.
Just, yeah, is it all still the status? Because we've had a couple turnovers in school board members, so I don't know
I'll find out.
where they're at on that. You know, obviously, safety is the big issue. I don't know who walked with us, but Bay News 9 was with us and I almost got smashed by a truck right at Forest Lakes Boulevard and 580. I mean, the guy literally cut the corner and I was just getting ready to step off the curb and he almost plowed me over, so.
She almost got hit too.
Yeah, yeah, so, anyway, okay, motion in a second, any other discussion?
I just had a question. For the city manager, what was the increase the previous year?
I think it was
I think
3.97,
it's been 3.
It just keeps being.
I think.
The,
What are you gonna do?
Was what?
the staff enthusiastically. Why enthusiastically also? I had a big part in this. We saved how much money by getting rid of our police department? We saved a ton of money in 1975 when we went to the SO. Saved a ton of money, and all the politics was out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the amount of assets they have that we have use of,
Yeah.
between helicopters and boats and all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it just,
Deputy Fernandez in the back there.
that's right. I mean, how could we not, how could we not support it?
It's interesting, we had lunch, it was my turn in the hopper with Captain Peterson, and what was how many is he doing out of the county? You remember, was it like 16? No,
No, 10 or 11
10 or 11, obviously,
out of 24.
and obviously St. Pete and Clearwater, are
They wanna do
clearly
it,
their
yeah.
own, but it's amazing to me sometimes, to your point, why more municipalities don't do it, especially for
It
continuity.
doesn't make any sense.
It works well for us.
It's perfect
It
for
it
us.
works really well for us.
Well, if you want to see where it doesn't work, go to Kansas City.
Tennessee.
Kansas City. He can tell you about Kansas City. Look at him grinning back there.
Where we're from.
All right,
Kansas City has more trouble with their police department and the politics inside of it. I don't know why they don't go to the county. But that's Kansas City and we're Oldsmar.
Well, if we don't approve it, we're all getting tickets tonight on the way home, so.
they're already pre-written, yeah. Notice for the record, I keep trying to move this topic along. He vowed not to have dialogue tonight, but, no, I'm just kidding. What are you looking for? A motion and a second? All those in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 8 is adopt resolution 2018-13, establishing the tentative millage rate of 4.05 mils for fiscal year 2018-19. This is a public hearing, and we are requesting council approval for the adoption of resolution 2018-13. It establishes the tentative ad valorem or property tax rate for the upcoming fiscal year and sets it at 4.05 mils for the 11th straight year. This will also be the 28th consecutive year where the rate has been equal or lowered from the previous year. City Council has already certified this as the maximum rate allowable to the property appraiser for the upcoming budget. Recently, the property appraiser sent out truth and millage notices, or TRIM notices, which explain to the public what property rates are proposed to be for all 9 taxing authorities in Pinellas County. This is a public hearing and first reading of the resolution. Second and final reading will be held on Tuesday, September 18th, 2018 at 7 p.m. here in the council chambers for the City of Oldsmar, 101 State Street West. I will read the resolution in its entirety.
Nice.
Resolution 2018-13, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, setting the tentative millage rate for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1, 2018, and ending September 30th, 2019. Mayor, that's the reading of Resolution 2018-13.
Oh, that was very enthusiastic, but we'll go with it. You got work. You can work on it for the next one. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to address this item from the public? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. For discussion, need a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion on this. This is great. What'd you say? And I was listening. 18th
11th year.
11th year?
Yeah.
11th year in a row and 28th year without an increase.
28th year without an increase. That's pretty good. So, at any rate, we don't know how long you can sustain that, but, we'll see what happens
After November.
after November with the election. I think a lot of cities are going to be facing that, which is some of the issue that people need to be aware of with that deal. So anyway,
Moving it along.
yeah, moving it along. Any other discussion?
Nope.
Call the roll.
Vice Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember McGee?
Yes.
Councilmember Beveland?
Yes.
Mayor Beavis?
Aye.
Resolution 2018-13, establishing a tentative millage rate of 4.05 mils for fiscal year 2018-19 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 9 is adopt resolution 2018-14, establishing a tentative budget for fiscal year 2018-19. This is also a public hearing, and we are requesting council approval for the tentative budget for the upcoming year. The second public hearing and final passage of this resolution will be held on Tuesday, September 18th, 2018 at 7 p.m. here in the council chambers for the City of Oldsmar, 101 State Street West. The all funds total of the tentative budget is $36,081,480. I will read the resolution in its entirety, because I didn't do that the last time. I apologize. Resolution 2018-14, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting the tentative budget appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1st, 2018 and ending September 30th, 2019. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2018 and ending September 30th, 2019, and now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, does hereby tentatively establish the appropriations for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2018 and ending September 30th, 2019 as follows. See attached Schedule A, pages 1 through 8. General Fund, $14,877,685. Public Safety Impact Fund, $315,000. Parkland Dedication Fund, $220,500. Multimodal Impact Fund, $70,500. Community Redevelopment Agency Fund, $782,000. Debt Service Veterans Memorial Park, $169,030. Capital Improvement Fund, $4,820,000. Water and Sewer Operating Fund, $9,796,000. Water and Sewer Impact Fund, $176,000. Stormwater Utility Fund, $2,095,265. Solid Waste Fund, $2,759,500. Total budget appropriations, $36,081,480. Section 2, that all purchase orders for materials and services that remain open at year-end, fiscal year 17-18, are to become supplemental appropriations in the respective departmental accounts in the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2019, unless canceled. Section 3, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption. Passed and adopted by City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, this 4th day of September 2018. Mayor, that concludes the reading of Resolution 2018-14 in its entirety.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to address this item? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing for discussion. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this item as well?
Nope, we talked about it a lot at the work session.
Yes, we have. Great budget again, as always. To credit to your staff and everybody, Cindy and the gang. Any other discussion? No? If not, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Sadell?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember Mickey?
Yes.
Councilmember Beverly?
Yes.
Mayor Beavis?
Aye.
Resolution 2018-14 establishing a tentative budget for fiscal year 2018-19 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 10, adopt resolution 2018-15, supporting the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council Memorandum of Understanding and creating the Tampa Bay Regional Resiliency Coalition to address sea level rise and climate resiliency. This is an initiative started by the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council intended to address the issues of sea level rise and climate resiliency. The purpose of the coalition is to bind regional member governments into a unified approach in applying climate adaptation and mitigation activities across county lines with the goal of advancing local and regional responses to and preparation for economic and social disruption that could occur from sea level rise. Another goal of the newly formed coalition is to provide technical assistance and resources to local agencies in addressing the effects of climate change. Passing the resolution simply relays our support to the TBRPC for the creation of the coalition. Council action, if approved, will be to sign the memorandum of understanding as provided by the TBRPC subcommittee for the full TBRPC consideration at their September 10th, 2018 meeting. There will also be an official signing celebration on October 8th, 2018. And for those of you still in the audience, this in a way dovetails to Mr. Stovall's comments in Citizens Forum about the coalition's creation. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? No? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0. There you go.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number
Like that
11.
phrase, though, the memorandum of understanding.
What?
What's that?
Memorandum of understanding.
Call my cell or send me an email, I want to talk to you.
Right about now, nobody understands it.
Okay.
Well, I was concerned with when, is it Stovall? Stovall, when he showed up and said, I'm with the Sierra Club and we go to the wildest places on earth. I'm here in Oldsmar. Like, wow.
Item number 11, approve interlocal agreement between Pinellas County and the City of Oldsmar for assistance in the review and analysis of the new preliminary floodplain insurance maps as mandated by FEMA. The City of Oldsmar and Pinellas County both participate in FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program. FEMA is updating flood insurance rate maps, also referred to as FIRM, for communities around the state of Florida, especially those in Pinellas County, which will affect the City of Oldsmar in addition to Pinellas County and other municipalities. The county has retained HDR Engineering to review these preliminary maps for accuracy and validity and offers to assist municipalities that enter into this interlocal agreement to compile and submit appeals to FEMA as required and with public support. By approving the interlocal, the city agrees to pay the county for work performed on a reimbursement basis with a not-to-exceed amount of $50,000. The agreement presents an Exhibit A, which is yet to be defined, and will depend on the services requested by the city. Exhibit B outlines the fees to be paid by those services. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? How many other municipalities are participating in this agreement?
I don't know that we know that yet because I'm not sure
They've gotten this
how
far.
many have voted on it. Nan, do you happen to, do you know?
Okay. Probably the ones that are coastal communities, I would think.
Well, clearly, we are going to be very significantly affected by it, so I think we could assume the beach communities to a degree, and those along the bay, Safety Harbor clearly, St. Pete clearly, Clearwater clearly, but we will be significantly affected by this.
This is like the memorandum of understanding,
No, it's an interlocal agreement.
and then it gets, well, the cost of it will be determined later.
Based on what work is determined to be done and how many participants are in it, I assume, correct, Al?
Yeah, we agree to reimburse them for work they perform. We can ask for specific work to be performed to challenge some determination made that affects us directly. Exhibit B shows you the fees for that, so it'll be a combination of the two of those, the total not to exceed $50,000 for the next 2 years.
I just love the phrase, to be determined.
Well, we don't know yet, so. I don't need it. Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you need a motion?
Oh, I didn't get a motion.
I was wondering if
I was
you need a
wondering, I did it
motion.
backwards. I've been doing it all night.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Anything else?
Mayor, that's it.
City Clerk, got anything?
I don't have anything.
Thank you. City Council. We will start with Mr. Beaverland. Councilmember Beaverland.
Okay, thank you, sir. You know, when I was first elected way back yonder in the older days, I sat on seat 2. When I was re-elected again in 1990, I sat on seat 2. I kind of miss seat 2. So tonight I am announcing that I am running for city council, for council seat 4.
Dan?
Dan just went, whoo. He started growing hair, I think.
And one other thing, before I forget that, thank you who you are. Thank you who you are. I have stayed off of Facebook for years. In fact, I got 4 Facebook pages, and I don't know how I got 4, and I can't get rid of them. But so I started another Facebook on Gerald and Beaverland, and if you go on it for the last, I don't know, 4 months, I've put a ton of information on there about the city of Oldsmar. It's like 50 years ago, my beautiful wife and I enjoyed Oldsmar's first fireworks. Just things like that.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, not that I wrote it, but because it happened here in the city of Oldsmar. Now thank you who you are.
It's kind of interesting. You've really had quite the quantum leap from, years ago when you wrote, but now being part of social media, you can really see and almost instantaneously get responses to your comments or
My questions.
your questions. And
It's like what used to sit where
Yeah.
the library is now, and how did we get it?
yeah, before you might have got 2 people to respond. Now you can get tons.
Well,
of
I
people.
got you to respond to something, and Gabby responded to something, and you 2 have
Yeah.
responded to 1 or 2.
Well,
of
and I
them.
think it's great too, because, with so many people, not everyone's gonna have your book, which would surprise me, of course, Jerry, but putting those types of things online makes it very accessible, and it helps, I don't know, I think our citizens find it interesting,
Educate them, yeah.
educational, and it's at the fingertips, so it's good, it's enjoyable.
Jerry, I really enjoy them. Do me a favor, put one about the racetrack. You mentioned a couple of years ago, used to be a.
1926,
Yeah.
February the 1st. That was the inauguration day. In my last book, they called me. What's her name?
Margot.
Margot. I wrote the history of the racetrack for them, and they said, "Do you have any photographs?" And I ended up, I had the initial day of the opening in my one book. I found all these photographs that they didn't have. That place was incredible. There must have been 2 million people there.
Oh, wow.
It was called the Jockey Club. I will.
And also the raceway. The drag strip.
The drag strip.
In the drag strip,
What's the famous drag stripper?
Sunshine Speedway?
Speedway.
The racer? Time now.
Speedway.
You talking about the tracker or driver? Don Garlett?
Don Garlett, he owned the drag strip here in Oldsmar. Garlett started here in this, right out of sight on West Racetrack Road. His dragster was named the Swamp Buggy.
Yeah.
And where the drag strip was on an old airport, and it was a swamp. Anyway, I will.
That's great, yeah. You could almost slowly recount your books in social media, snippets at a time. And that would be great, because it's a quick read, and you can kind of respond to it.
And plus, Mayor, I don't bring it up here at council, Mayor.
Yeah. And we'll go to the only seat on the council that is not up for election this year. Cheers.
Seems like we're gonna have a lot of people running for
Councilmember,
city
yeah.
council this year.
Welcome
This
back.
should be interesting. Thank you. I only had one thing, 2. Thank you for excusing my absence at the end of August. When I returned from that Las Vegas work conference, I went to my Leadership Canales opening retreat, and it was awesome. The group is really a good group of people. A few I already knew, like Will from Nielsen, and there's a lot of attorneys in the group and real estate agents, and Quinn's in there. And it was really informative, and I think I'm gonna make a lot of friends, and we have our first day next week. So,
Excellent.
yeah, Deb presented for most of the retreat, and he was a really good speaker, and I think everybody really liked him, so.
Deb's
it's
good.
awesome. So thank you again for asking me to participate and sponsoring me. I appreciate it, Eric.
I know you will
You get
represent us
paid for
well.
that?
What's that?
Did you get paid for that?
Not yet.
Okay, good.
No, wait.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Congratulations on leadership, Pinellas. Gabby, I know that's a great organization. I really enjoyed it. I actually miss it. But that's great. And then Jerry, keep up the good work on Facebook. The only thing I want to say is I had a great weekend with my grandsons at Oldsmar Days. Thank you to the city staff for doing a great job. The fireworks were backwards. It's okay. You didn't screw that up, but it was a fun day, and I enjoyed that. And just hats off to everybody for your hard work in making that a great event. And Chip, thanks for letting me park. I appreciate that.
Dan, do that with your grandkids all the time.
Oh, they love coming to the city now.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you may not have one.
Yeah, thanks. They actually cherish coming here now. They're 6 and 5. The youngest one's 1.5, and they absolutely love going on the ride, the pony rides, and everything. It was just great. They really enjoy that. Thank you so much. And other than that, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to thank our staff and the chamber members who participated as well to help put on some of the other events. I thought it was a terrific event. Could have done without the rain Friday, but it is what it is. And I know there was quite a bit of talk informally out there if we might want to consider, maybe have staff go look at some potential options of moving it. Because
Not the location.
not the location, but the date. Because we end up in a scenario where the rain has threatened it a lot of times. And so I know the chamber has Oktoberfest. I would never want it at the same time as Oktoberfest is going on. But it might be something to do around Halloween. You could do a kids contest. I know I've judged a kids contest before with Jerry and the mayor, and that's a real popular job to get. But I think it might
Actually,
be.
it's not very
It is
popular.
not.
Not.
Yeah, no, it's not really. But anyhow, I was thinking that we should consider that.
How to make
It's
a few
cooler,
friends and a lot of enemies.
The weather's nicer, and
No hurricanes.
yeah, just, we're likely not to have any issue with storms.
Yeah, you're never guaranteed, but yeah, we won't have snow, so that's.
The precedent has already been set, because it rained 6 inches on July the 4th, we moved it to, now we
Right.
can move it again.
Yeah, I think that, I talked to Al today too, and I think they're gonna kind of delve into what it might look like moving forward, so.
We can ring in
Whether
the
it's
new
2 days
year
or
with
one day,
them.
Huh?
whether it goes back to a one-day format.
Yeah, well, the problem with the Friday, and I experienced this with the chamber, is, Friday's a tough day anyway. People are getting out of work, picking up, they're not even home till 7 o'clock, so it's a late start anyway.
Well, I also think about it from our staff standpoint.
It's a lot of work.
The chamber to me is a different animal. It's a different animal because all of us in the chamber volunteer to be there. It's not like a work event.
Yeah.
And so when I look at that event, because it used to be a single day event and it got changed. I don't remember when it got changed.
What's that?
Celebrate Oldsmar.
From a
It's a
single
one
day
day.
event.
It was a one-day event.
It was one day, it started in 1966. And the fire department started it, and then the chamber took it over in the 70s.
Did it switch when we authorized to sell a
Centennial.
beer, when we started
Wasn't
selling
it,
beer?
yeah, the centennial, it went 2 years. I thought.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that's a takeaway.
2 days.
We don't need to have that discussion.
No, that's fine.
Outside of that, I'm not going to be able to be here for the 9/11 events. I am going to be actually gone next week with my bride on our 10-year anniversary trip. We're going out of town for the week, going to Alaska.
Nice.
Always take care of your bride.
It's the last state in America. It's the last one I haven't been to.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
excited
amazing.
about it. Well, good time. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have, really, I don't have anything. It was a great weekend. Thanks to the city staff. Thanks to Deputy Martinez and your brother Fernandez for everything you and our CPOs did. Not only did you do a tremendous amount of work, and if you would share this with Captain Peterson and the sheriff, you know, you were out in full force at Celebrate Oldsmar, but we had two pretty intense calls, both with helicopters and canine units that were going on at the same time. So I was talking to somebody today, and they said, you know, the second one, the home invasion, maybe they thought that because we had Celebrate Oldsmar going on, that they might be able to pull this off. I said, that's all well and good, but don't forget we had 10 times the amount of sheriff's department there. So when we find out, we are on you. So did Cackalo outrun you?
No.
No.
Same pace.
All right, I'm gonna ask her opinion in separate testimony. Do you swear to that? On the record? No, but thank you, and share that with the captain and everything. You guys reacted, you know, right on it. So and
always do.
Yeah, the way you always do, and pretty much caught everybody and got everything resolved. So nobody hurt, I don't think, tremendously.
Did they catch the third guy?
They did not catch the third guy, right?
Yep.
No. So at any rate, so I have nothing else. So adjourn. 7:59.
Gabby, get some sleep.
Take that.